Welcome to the Power of Oxygen First, where we scale your life first so your business can actually breathe. I'm your host, Dot Rock. Oxygen First means you protect your energy first. You build your life first. You take care of your nervous system first. Then you scale. Because success without oxygen, that's just burnout with better branding. Around here, we talk about real leadership, how to hire your peanut butter instead of just doing it all yourself, how to fire with grace when something's expired, no more breadcrumbs, how to grow or go, and how to receive support without apologizing for it. This isn't hustle culture. It's sustainable success. It's leadership with oxygen. So let's pause and take a deep breath. Let's build something that actually feels like home. Hello, my Pod Squad friends. We are back on the Power of Oxygen First. And this episode, we are just going to talk about that return on investment calculator I introduced in a previous episode. And we're going to talk about where we left off to where we are now. So this one's going to be all about energy leaks and the real rate of return when you seek support. Now, that's not always hiring support. Please don't forget. Okay, so let's say you have my return on investment calculator in front of you, right where we left off last time. But as always, I like to start the podcast with a little bit of a story to reconnect this. Why is hiring so important, or why is seeking support so important? Because we stop doing it all ourselves. We stop having an ego and relying fully on ourselves. So I was really thinking about this concept recently when I went to the gym. And my trainer and the lady so I have hired her to be my trainer once a week, Monday mornings, a workout with her. That way it keeps me accountable. I show up and I start the week out with a lot of energy because I love working out. Not everybody loves working out the way that I do, so I get that. But if this were something for you, think of what would fill up your cup. Okay, so I went to the gym, but my trainer was gone for the week, which meant all the workout classes that I also go to that she leads, she was not there for. So she pre-plans my Monday workouts with her one-on-one, and then in a class of women, she plans the other workouts for the week, which is amazing and so supportive. But what it's like when I showed up at the gym recently for that whole week, now, I do have to say, she sent me like written out workouts to go do without her, but it was so much harder. First of all, I didn't show up at the 8 a.m. time. I delayed it all day. And also I didn't have music on. I didn't have the playlist. I didn't know exactly what her directions meant. It was like every minute on the minute. Did she mean I needed to just do 12 reps? Did she mean I needed to max out on all the machines? I had no idea, right? Because I'm kind of used to her guiding me. Now, let me tell you, for years of my life, I'm 44 years old. I planned my own workouts, I did my own thing. Then I started leaning into support. I hired my first trainer at my CrossFit gym in Durango, and all of that just changed my life. And then I started downloading and paying for pre-written workouts and really mapping out what I was going to do and sticking to a schedule. And that changed things. It's just like meal prepping and planning your meals. It takes away all the cognitive space that it takes on a daily basis to decide what you're going to eat. It's already pre-decided, it's already pre-made, and you just go for it and you hit your macros. So, not everybody likes to do that. I get it. But for me, it's changed my energy and my life. So, I really was thinking about this recently when I went to the gym and she was gone. It's so different when there's no class to show up for. It's so different when the coach or the leader is ready to help me and the music is on and the plan is set. There's a different energy in the room and it just lands different, right? So it wasn't just when she was gone that I didn't have the discipline. I did. I made it to the gym, but man, the structure that she created, it really just hit differently. Um, it provided support in just the right ways because there's really a difference, right? Support is not rescue. Support is often structure. Now, in the last episode, when we talked about the return on investment calculator, we ended right where the investment calculator gets interesting. We identified your energy leaks. So now we're going to look at what it's actually costing you to not have support and what aligned support could return. Again, not all support is about hiring support. Sometimes it is just about asking for what you need. Okay. So let's go back to identifying the opportunities you have for support. So if you have your support and breathe return on investment calculator open and in front of you, you should be on the identifying opportunities tab. This section is simple, but it's quite revealing. It asks, what are you spending your time on? And it says what tasks drain you and what requires willpower instead of flow. And this isn't about what you can do. Remember, it's about, and it's more about what you should be doing and what you actually really enjoy doing. So just remember, most entrepreneurs don't actually fail because they're incapable. They stall, just like stalling an airplane, my favorite thing. They stall because they're misallocated. Their high value energy is being used for low value task. And every time that happens, you all pay a tax, right? So that's when you're switching between Canva and social media and actually dealing with that client issue that you have. You are wasting your time and energy, right? And it's not because you're not capable of doing Canva or capable of doing a social media post. It's because that's not where your highest value is. But your virtual assistant or someone on your team, they might be really good and really efficient at that. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I am saying stop telling yourself that you have to absolutely learn every task before you outsource it. It's bullshit. And that's what's keeping you small. Same thing with if you made yourself figure out everything about children before you hired a babysitter. No, some babysitters know how to play more imaginary games than you do as the parent. They don't have to hold as much cognitive space. They don't have to do everything. You've already bought all the snacks. They just have to hand them out. It's different, right? So energy leaks are not always obvious. In our businesses, it could look like switching between big picture strategy and tiny admin details. It could be like writing something important, writing that book you plan to publish this year, and then stopping to answer something in Slack. It could be finishing a client call and then immediately shifting to scheduling with another client. Each switch costs momentum. Each time we do this, momentum becomes more and more expensive. It's what I would like to call the willpower tax, just like going to the gym alone and designing your own workout while also coaching yourself. Yes, you're capable, but it's heavier when you do it that way. So if we look at part two, calculating the true cost, that's where the calculator, the return on investment calculator that you have in front of you, gets honest. And again, if you don't have the calculator in front of you, just listen. You can just listen to the words of this podcast and it could still make a difference. You don't have to abandon the podcast. But where the calculator gets honest is where you estimated the hours per week you spent on lower value tasks versus your actual hourly rate that we calculated in episode 1. Again, You can calculate that. It's pretty easy. But when you look at the hours spent on a lower value task and multiply that by your hourly rate, not dramatically, not emotionally, just neutrally, this is not about shame. This is about clarity. Because when you see that number calculated out, you're not just seeing, look at what I did wrong. You're seeing, this is what it cost to operate unsupported. So you can see the number, right? So if I were on that, I could see on the calculate the return tab, I could see where I could be putting more money back in my pocket, my hiring return on investment. It's pretty powerful, my friends. So just remember, you're already paying for support. You're just paying for it in a different way. Maybe not with your checkbook, maybe with fatigue, slower growth in your business, reactive decision making, and reduced creative capacity. This calculator simply converts that invisible cost into a visible one. Okay, so we're going to shift to the calculate your return tab that I was just mentioning, right? Because we've already identified the opportunities and the energy leaks and where areas we could ask for help, not even pay for help, all of that. Then we're going to go straight to that calculate your return tab. Okay? Now on that, most important shift is right here. This is where we stop asking, what does support cost? And instead, we start asking, what does capacity generate? If you were to reclaim 5 to 10 hours per week, what could those hours produce if they were spent in revenue generating work, strategy in your business, relationship building, content creation, or rest that restores sharp thinking? In my world yesterday, you guys, I was having some health problems. I have interstitial colitis, um, bladder spasms, and I think that's what it's called. I may have just said those words incredibly wrong. Don't judge me. I'm human. But it looked like going and getting a massage in the middle of the day. I was feeling awful. But during the massage, several business ideas came to me, right? Several things for the podcast. And I shifted a couple things with my team and it feels a lot more aligned simply because I put on my oxygen mask first. Because support does not just remove tasks, it actually reallocates our energy. And what we know about energy is that energy compounds. So let this land for you. Support doesn't save time, support returns capacity, and capacity increases return. Now, that is true return on investment. Just like me taking the 30 minutes to get a massage yesterday. And after 30 minutes, I decided to add on a foot massage. So it was 60 minutes of a massage, and it was incredible, my friends. So if part of you is thinking, I should really be able to do this all myself, let me just gently ask you, do you want to? Or have you just been operating without structure for so long that that feels normal? Going to a workout class isn't weakness, it's leverage. Hiring aligned support isn't indulgence, it's leverage. So if you're an entrepreneur, the calculator is not telling you to hire tomorrow. It's showing you whether your current structure supports your growth. And if it doesn't, that's information. Sit with it, sleep with it. Now, if you're a virtual assistant or a support professional, all of this shows in this return on investment calculator why your role matters. You are not taking work, you are increasing focus, and focus is where growth happens. You are doing big work supporting people. And thank you from all of us for your heart of a servant. I am so deeply grateful for all the women in my life that support me. So, just in summary, you don't need more willpower. You need structure that holds you steady. And you don't need to hustle harder. You need to protect your highest value energy. And this calculator simply shows you the math behind what your nervous system already knows. And this, my friends, this is oxygen first. We'll have a lovely week and we'll see you next week. This conversation reminded you that you don't have to do it all alone. That's your cue. Go download the free Support and Breathe Return on Investment Calculator at rockconsulting.com. It's a quick, slightly eye-opening way to see how much time, money, and energy you could reclaim with the right support. And remember, support does not always mean hiring. Sometimes it's a simple ask. Sometimes it's a boundary. And sometimes it's finally letting someone be your peanut butter. If something in this episode resonated, please come tell me. I'm on Instagram at @_rock_, and I genuinely love hearing what lands for you so I can create more of them. And remember, your energy is your greatest asset. Protect it, invest in it, and always put on your oxygen mask first. I'll see you next week.